Elementary OS is a Linux distribution that resembles macOS in its appearance and functionality. If you are considering switching to Linux and appreciate the design, simplicity, and efficient resource usage that macOS offers, this distribution may be a good choice for you. When you visit the official website, the link will be in the video description, you will not see a download button for this operating system. Instead, you will be presented with the options to purchase Elementary OS at prices of $10, $20, or $30. However, if you click on the custom button and enter 0 as the amount, the Purchase Elementary OS button will change to Download Elementary OS, allowing you to download the operating system at no cost. Once you click this button, you will have two download options. You can download the ISO file directly from the website by clicking the download button, or you can download it as a torrent by clicking the magnet button. After download is complete, we will create a bootable USB using Rufus. After selecting the ISO file you downloaded and clicking the start button, you will have the option to choose the USB formatting method, selecting between ISO and DD options. You will then receive a warning that the USB will be formatted. Click OK to confirm. Once the creation of the bootable USB drive is successfully completed, we will restart the computer and begin the installation process of Elementary OS. When the installation starts, you will first have the opportunity to make global settings related to the Elementary as the operating system. First, we will select the language. I will leave English selected, but you can choose your preferred language. Next, we will have the option to select the keyboard. You can choose one or more options if you want to have the ability to switch keyboards after installation. When we click the Select button to confirm our choice, we will receive three options. If you want to test the operating system before installation, select the first option, Try Demo Mode. If you want to manually set up partitions and format the disk, click on the third option, Custom Install. You would choose this option, for example, if you want to create a dual boot, meaning installing multiple operating systems on one hard drive, so you need to manually configure everything according to your needs. If you want to completely erase and automatically format the hard drive, select the second option, Erase Disk and Install, which I will choose in this case. When we click the Erase and Install button, if you have multiple hard drives, you will have the opportunity to select the disk on which Elementary OS will be installed. As you can see, I only have one hard drive, so I will select that one. When we click the Next button, we will have the opportunity to encrypt the hard drive. If you are installing Elementary OS on a laptop, it is recommended to enable encryption. In this segment, you have the opportunity to define a password that will be used for encryption. It is advisable to define a strong password that combines uppercase and lowercase letters, numbers, and symbols. Encryption will prevent unauthorized access to your data if, for example, your device is stolen. If you do not want to encrypt the hard drive, simply click the Don't Encrypt button. Since we are doing this for demonstration purposes, I will enable encryption to show how it works. The next segment relates to the settings for drivers. In this section, you can grant permission to install third-party property drivers by checking the option Include third-party property drivers when installing. When we click the Erase and Install button, the installation of the operating system will begin. After the installation is successfully completed, you will need to restart the computer by clicking the Restart Device button. After we restart the computer, we will first need to enter the password we used for encrypting the disk. When the system starts, since we have already made global settings, we will have the opportunity to set up a user profile. Elementary OS allows the creation of multiple user accounts, which is useful if multiple people use the same computer. According to that, in addition to configuring the operating system, you will also need to set up settings for each user profile. First, we will again have the option to select the language and the keyboard we want to use. Then we will define the name, username and password for the profile. After completing this, we will need to restart the computer again. We will re-enter the password used for decrypting the hard drive and then the password we defined for the user profile. When the system starts for the first time, you will likely receive a notification that you need to update the system and install missing drivers. As you can see, in my case, it is evident that the graphic drivers are missing. If you receive this notification, it is recommended to perform the necessary updates before you start with other customizations. After we have updated the system and installed the drivers, we will go through the basic settings. If we click on the first link in the Welcome segment, a website will open in the web browser where you can see the basic functions and settings for Elementary OS. Almost all applications that come pre-installed are characteristic for this operating system, meaning they are developed by the creators of Elementary OS. When we click the next button, we will have the option to choose a theme to apply and select a color of our choice. We will also have the option to activate night light, which adjusts the colors according to the lighting conditions. Additionally, we can specify which files will be deleted after 30 days. For example, I will select to delete temporary files and files that we have removed. After that, we can add our online accounts, such as Gmail, to gain direct access to our emails, calendar and more. When we click Next, we will have the option to install new applications, but we will do that after completing this introductory segment. We will also have the option to determine whether we want updates for installed applications and the system to be installed automatically. I will select both options, but you can choose to enable just one or disable both. Once we have gone through this introductory segment, we will first click on Applications in the upper left corner, where you can see all the applications that come with this operating system. When we click on AppCenter, which we also have in the Dock segment, you will see applications that you can install. What you will likely notice when trying to install applications this way is that some applications will have a price labeled next to them. However, this does not mean that you must pay the listed price if you want to use them. If you click on any of these applications, you will see the price in the upper right corner. When you click on this segment, a new window will open where you can choose the amount you want to pay. If you set the amount to 0, the Try for Free button will appear, allowing you to install the application at no cost. If you find this approach, which developers of Elementary OS have chosen for obvious reasons, irritating, you can also install and use Synaptic Package Manager for installing and updating applications. We will do that now. We will open the terminal and enter the command sudo apt install synaptic to install this application manager. The command will also be in the video description, so you can easily copy it. After installation, click on Applications in upper left corner and search for the application by entering the first letters of its name. When you click on Synaptic Package Manager, you will need to enter your password, as the application must have permission to install other applications. Applications are grouped into categories that you can browse, but if you know the exact name of the application, click on the magnifying glass icon and type the name. For example, I will install LibreOffice. You will receive a list of all applications that mention the given name. When you find the one you want and click on it, you will see all the options that this program offers, such as mark for installation, reinstall, update, remove, and so on. Since this application is not installed, the only option available to us is mark for installation, which we will click to indicate that we want to install the application. After doing this, the program will automatically mark all dependencies needed for the proper functioning of the application, and all we need to do now is click the Apply button. Synaptic Package Manager can of course be installed on other Linux distributions if you want the option to install GNOME applications in addition to Flatpak, as well as to automatically update all installed applications. Now we will click on Applications to verify if LibreOffice has been successfully installed. As you can see, the program is installed and ready to use. When we click on Settings and then on Applications, we have the option to specify which applications we want to use by default. Since Elementary OS uses Epiphany as the main web browser, where the option to install extensions is limited, we will install Firefox and set it as the default web browser. In the Startup segment, you can see the applications that automatically launch with the operating system. If you want to disable any of them, simply click on the slider, or if you want to delete it, click on the trash can icon. Additionally, if you want other applications to start with the operating system, you can do so by clicking the Add Startup App button and selecting the application you want. In the Apps segment, you will find applications that have certain permissions related to the system. When you click on any of them, you will see all the permissions that the application has. By clicking on the slider, you can enable or revoke the permission. This system is similar to the one applied to mobile applications and gives you control, allowing you to determine which permissions the application will have. When we return to the settings, we will see additional options available to you. For example, we will open the desktop section to customize or change the wallpaper on the desktop. You have the option to choose one of the existing images or to add your own image to be used as the background. Next, we will explore the Security and Privacy section. In the History segment, on the left side, there is a list of applications for which Elementary OS has permission to collect data in order to provide you with a better user experience. You can disable this by unchecking the desired application. On the right side, there is a section where you can add applications that you have installed and for which you want to disable data collection. Additionally, in this section you have a firewall that is not active by default. To enable it, click the Unlock button in the lower right corner, enter your password and then click the slider to activate the firewall. At the bottom, you can see plus and minus icons, which are used to add and remove rules related to the firewall. Here you will also find rules concerning the deletion of unnecessary files, which we have already defined, as well as a segment where you can see which applications are using your location data. Those who have a keen eye for details may have noticed that when you open an application, there is no option to minimize it. Instead, you can either close the application or expand it to the full screen. You can easily resolve this limitation by installing the Pantheon Tweaks application. We will do that now. Once the installation is complete and you launch the application, you will see all the options related to customization. Click on the drop-down menu in the Windows Control Layout segment and select the option that suits you best. For example, I will choose the macOS option. Now, as you can see, I have the option to minimize the window. Furthermore, when it comes to customizing the appearance, you can remove applications from the dock menu by right-clicking on the application icon and unchecking the Keep in Dock option. Adding icons is done in the same way. Right-click on the applications icon and select the option Keep in Dock, or simply by clicking and dragging the icon into the dock. In elementary OS, you can open the terminal by pressing at the same time the Super key or Windows key and the letter T. As I previously mentioned, elementary OS allows you to create multiple user accounts, which is useful if several people use the same computer. You can create a new user account by clicking on Settings and then on User Accounts. In the lower left corner, click on Create User Account. After entering your password, you will have the option to define the user account. First, you can choose the user permissions, in other words, whether it will be a standard user or an administrator. Then enter the name, username and password. After you add multiple user accounts, the next time you start the system, you will have the option to choose which account you want to use. Of course, for each account, you can make settings that will apply only to that account. Thanks to everyone who took the time to watch this video. I hope you find it useful or at least informative.